welcome to this week's Karma Cards. It's been a minute since I saw you, and I'm so happy to be back. I was under the weather for a bit, and I'm finally getting over it, so I'm excited to be back and sharing the Karma Cards with you this week at a little bit of a weird time, but I believe in divine timing, so this must be the time you need to hear the message. Now, I've been looking at what's going on astrologically, and it's actually a kind of quiet period. We just had Mercury retrograde end. Yes. But right after Mercury started stationing direct, Saturn has moved into retrograde. So I wanted to share with you what it looks like when Saturn goes into retrograde and what it's doing for us. Because I believe that every planetary movement, right, remember, we're beings of free will, so we're not forced to follow these things, but they are major waves of influence over us. So as we go through these waves of influence, we're going to see that it has an effect on certain areas of our lives. And when a planet is retrograding like Saturn, you want to look at it where it is in your natal chart. It'll give you more information about the area of your life that it's going to be affecting. But when we're looking at Saturn moving into retrograde, what we're getting is a overhaul of our foundational structure in whatever area of our life Saturn is retrograding in. So let's say that Saturn was retrograding in your house of career. What you'd notice is that you're probably trying to make an expansion in this area. And when Saturn goes retrograde, it's almost like, imagine a house and your desire to expand is an addition you want to add on to the house. So Saturn retrograde would almost be like an inspector coming to look at the house, to look at the foundation, see if it's stable and if it can withhold an expansion. And if not, then it's going to naturally clear out anything that wouldn't support growth. And that's what Saturn's going to do in our life. It's going to help us clear out anything that doesn't support our growth and maybe require us to restructure in certain areas of our life. Saturn retrograde lasts from June 4th to October 22nd. So we're in this restructuring for a bit of time. But the beautiful thing about this is it's like removing anything that no longer serves you, and it guarantees that results will last longer. So you're going to build from a stronger foundation. Now, Saturn is a planet that's about discipline, and so it does require us to show up and do the work. If we show up and do the work, what we achieve is a type of mastery in that area of our life. And if we're not showing up to do the work, it starts to feel like we learn the lessons of setting boundaries, creating structure. We sort of feel chaotic until we put these into place. So this is a time period where you're going to want to honor adding structure to your life. It's only going to serve you and help you grow a stronger foundation. And it's an interesting conversation because as someone who is an artist and an intuitive, I spend a lot of time in the right hemisphere, and the right hemisphere of our mind is the more open, flowing, sort of creative and sometimes can be chaotic aspect of the mind where there's no set structure, right? The structure part is over in the left hemisphere with the analytical self. And it can be easy to believe that to stay open and fluid all the time is what's going to help you create the most. But as I always say, God gave us a whole brain, so we're supposed to use both parts. And you'll find that the creativity and your ability to manifest and visualize gets stronger the more structure you can add to it. So they enhance each other. I mean, yes, you can go too far into structure where you're trying to structure so much that you're going into a sense of control. But really, it's like using the creative side of our mind to identify what is it I want to create, and then using the other side of our mind to help us strategize and give ourselves a actionable plan that we can literally take concrete steps towards to make it manifest. So if you're a person who hears the word structure and you're like, ugh, it's not your jam, I would encourage you to start embracing structure where you can add it into your life. I know a lot of entrepreneurs understand this, that we get into business for ourselves because we want all of this freedom. And as soon as you have all that freedom, but without structure, you find that you end up just spinning and you don't really move anywhere. It isn't until you learn how to implement strategy and structure that you actually start to see the growth, the expansion, and the freedom you want. And I believe that this is true even outside of entrepreneurialism. It's not just there that you're going to experience it. You can use that same format in any area of your life to create exponential growth. So this is a time period where we are being asked to see that, own it, and embrace it, and create our own mastery. And now with that, let's do some karma cards. For those of you who are new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I have 2 sets of answers, one in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune into that beautiful intuition of yours and feel into, what do you need this week? Are you looking for action related answers or outcomes? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for June 5th through June 9th. And the flavor of this reading, we've got Mars, which is the planet of action. So we know that there's going to be a lot of action to take. In the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is digging for the deeper truth, and it's going to reveal what is hidden. In the 9th house of mental expansion. So let's see what it has to say. For those who are choosing action, your spiritual action at this time is to energize the extraordinary power of prayer as if it came from God. I feel like we get this one from time to time, right? I feel like this is a common one I've heard several times doing these karma cards over the years. So energize the extraordinary power of prayer as if it came from God. Well, that whole system of, praying and meditation, of course, it comes directly from our inner connection to source. And it looks like this is the energy we need to tap into at this time, is like really get in there and start asking. So the prayer is the asking, where the meditation would be the receiving of the answer. So we're being asked to ask more right now, go directly to source, and really utilize this tool at this time. Mental action. Confront the highest and lowest aspects of the philosophies and laws involved. We're being asked to think about things in a more expanded way. And when I think about what we were just talking about with Saturn's going retrograde right now, I feel like this is asking us to unpack some of our higher held beliefs, the things that we maybe use as a structural value system for living. So we're like checking in with that again. So remember, the Saturn retrograde is about a type of restructuring, and according to the cards right now, some of that restructuring is just simply looking at our higher held belief systems now, our higher thinking, or just the philosophies and law and universal laws that we go by, right? I just, again, every once in a while, we're never asked to hold something fixed by the universe. It always asks us to keep our mind open, keep questioning, keep coming back and asking yourself, why? Why do I believe that? What about this resonates for me or feels like truth? And this isn't because we're in doubt. It's not the same as self-doubt where you're like, I don't understand. Like, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. It's not like that. It's more like we're we're being asked to keep the mind open because an open mind can receive more. So if we're always sort of holding it in a questioning way, like a philosopher would, a philosopher is, usually someone who sits there and questions how things work. And by doing so, the mind stays open. And when the mind stays open, more information can come in. It's only once we've decided we know something, and that's a done deal. It's like the mind snaps closed like a trap and nothing else can get in there. So in order for us to operate with the most current energy and the most available truth, it's to keep the mind open. It's to hold things lightly. And this message keeps coming through in many different ways about trying to hold things lightly. And it's really interesting. You'll feel the difference between having that open mind and being willing to sort of evaluate those bigger concepts and doubting them. You'll feel the difference. It's a very different feeling, because at the end of the day, you can sit there and observe or evaluate something and still say, for now, this still feels like it's in alignment with me. And then you move on. Whereas when you're in doubt, you're just like, I don't know what's up and what's down. And I feel insecure about it. So you'll feel the difference between that open-mindedness and an insecurity. Physical action. Force yourself to control the situation and do it in a big way. Wow. Whenever Mars comes in, right, it's that really intense energy of like, just do it this way right now. That's the force yourself energy. So we've got Mars in Scorpio. By the way, Mars used to be the planetary ruler of Scorpio, so their language can sound very similar. So it's control the situation, so force and control here, and do it in a big way. When I read this, I keep coming back to the resistance to structure, and I feel like that's what it's asking us to get used to it. It's going to happen, so it's like either go with it or let it go against you, right? So if you go with it, you move into mastery, the art of discipline, which becomes personal mastery. And if you go against it, you get all the lessons of why you need boundaries and why you need structure are the lessons you get. So I feel like what they're trying to say here is like lean all in to the fact that structure is your friend right now, and that you're going to be doing restructuring or creating better structure at this time. And so, again, some of us might really like that and feel like that's our jam. Other people might be really uncomfortable with that message. And I actually feel for both of you, because I've been in the place where I really would be uncomfortable with that message. And I've moved into a place where I'm excited about it, because you get to choose the structure. That's the beautiful thing here. It's not about a structure being imposed on you, which, that might be. For those of you who don't like hearing this, I think that might be what you're reacting to, is not the idea of structure like you think, but rather a structure that you didn't choose being imposed on you. And that's not what this is about. This is about understanding how to utilize structure for yourself to create amazing things in your life, to create a really strong foundation with a long-lasting result. And that gets to be a structure you choose. So when you hear this, try to hear it from that place of, this structure you're creating is designed by you. It's going to be chosen by you, not chosen for you. That might help you shift your appreciation or disdain with the idea of structure. So now let's go into outcomes in Mars in Scorpio in the 9th house of mental expansion. Your spiritual outcome is the drive for perfection to resurrect spiritual values. So I think this is interesting because it talks about this resurrection of a higher ideal. So by going into this, right, if you're going into this with that willing energy of like, yeah, something new is going to be built, I'm laying new foundation here, it will motivate you, and you will see that it's here for your personal expansion. mental outcome at this time, the confronting of the secrets of long-range thinking or travel. So when I'm looking at the long-range thinking or travel, that's connected to the 9th house, but it gets me to, it's really connecting into the benefit of the Saturn retrograde that we were talking about, which is long-lasting results, long-range thinking. And so the confronting of the secrets of long-range, the secret of long-range thinking is strategy. Right? So you're going to be confronted directly with that strategy. And what is strategy connected to? The structure, right? So as soon as you identify where it is you want to go, you can immediately start reverse engineering it. So if you can point at North Star, you can reverse engineer, how do I get to that North Star? And that's what creates the strategy, which becomes the thing you follow that then takes you all the way to your destination. Physical outcome at this time, action resulting from the power of what's to be shared. So I'm asking my team, it's like, what does the what's to be shared part mean? And they're like, what's to be shared from your higher self? So again, 9th house is about the mental expansion. It is tapping into your spiritual values. So that type of connection is going to help you know what structure you need to create, understand what you're expanding to, and help you create the strategy to do so. So again, this is a time where it feels like stuff starts to move quickly if you move with it, right? So if we're in resistance to looking at whatever's coming forward, and even if you don't know where Saturn is in your natal chart, just be present with your life and you're going to feel the area that's like shifting. All right. It just feels like something in the matrix is changing, right? In your life. You're going to start feeling the restructuring. And then if you were to go check it on your natal chart, you'd be like, damn, that's accurate. So it's not about like having this foreknowledge and bracing for it. It's literally about understanding that I'm paying attention to whatever area in my life is showing me that it's shifting. Right? And as you allow yourself to receive that higher guidance about, and even just asking, so sit in meditation, use the extraordinary power of prayer and say, show me what in my life is trying to restructure itself. You will get that answer right away. And it's going to lead you into the action steps. And it's asking you at this time to move into action around it. That's what will create the discipline mastery aspect, which is the higher version of this experience versus the here's why you need boundaries. And here's why things are falling apart on you, right? Because you don't have these strong structures in place. So if you want to be on the higher vibrational energy of this time period, it's really about leaning in and being ready to take those actions that are required of you, which sometimes it's about taking on new things. Sometimes it's about shifting your perspective or shifting the way you do something. And sometimes it's about letting things go that just simply aren't working. And you're going to know which one it is by the guidance you're receiving. And of course, they keep saying, utilize the power of prayer, utilize the asking, ask for help. And ask for it as if, it's being taken as seriously as you're asking for it, because it is. So you're being guided right now. You're being given a lot of structure just through prayer. So go ahead and tap into that energy and enjoy the expansion that's coming through this week. And it might look like things kind of break apart before they come together. But what we're promised is, as things may break apart, when they come together stronger and they live longer. So it's actually very much in our favor. And until next week, I'm sending you lots of love. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.